All right.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to our weekly Black Lives Matter discussion. We do this every Tuesday, and we're happy for everyone who's tuning in right now. We have a very deep topic today. I mean, every topic, every week, but we keep going deeper. And this week is white people and atonement. And if you've watched some of the previous discussions, a lot of the Black members have been really healing experiences they've had. But last week, Jan and I were absent from the discussion, and it brought up a lot. And so we want to really atone for what happened, look at what happened, and see what this reveals both for us personally, because there's a healing here for us, and then go from there. What this is, whatever this brings up for healing. So maybe first we'll just describe what happened.
I'm hearing just a little feedback.
There's some
though,
feedback.
If someone could mute themselves.
Yeah, maybe if you're not the speaker, we'll do for today, so we don't have feedback.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah. So do you want to share like what happened
Sure.
on our end?
So last week, we received an assignment that we had to complete for the house by a certain deadline. It was a very big assignment. I guess specifically clearing all the weeds from our very large property. And
from Jeff and Shaleia.
Jeff and Shaleia, yeah.
Yes.
And we're here at Spiritual Boot Camp. And what I noticed now is that we kind of went into this fear energy because it was a very important project, and it was like, oh, if we don't get it done by a certain time.
We chose fear.
Yeah.
And we also, we dropped the ball on what God had asked us to commit to.
Yeah.
And that's the healing.
Exactly. We looked at our commitments and we didn't see the importance of our voice, right? We thought, oh,
it's just 1 week.
It's just 1 week.
They got it. All these things.
Right.
It's
Excuses.
Okay.
Excuses.
And what Jeff and Shaleia helped show us and point out is that one, we chose fear, and two, we were like running a collective pattern of white people to not show up. And it's not, the Black Lives Matter movement isn't just one-sided. It's everyone's movement, but like, yeah. And so.
Yeah, we realized, that there's the power of excuse, or that it doesn't really have power unless you give it. But why don't things move forward? It's so easy to have an excuse, right? And what this took me deeper is seeing that, like actually be able to look at that pattern and be like, wow, I chose to.
It didn't feel good.
Yeah, I chose to not see my voice as important to a discussion, or my presence, even if it's not even my voice. I chose to send a message that, here we have a group that says Black Lives Matter, and then I show up when I want to or not. That actually kind of seemed to negate the whole point of the movement that I wasn't seeing. Black Lives Matter means it matters. It matters, and we show up for it.
Right.
So it took me deeper into the heart of what this movement actually is, Black Lives Matter. And more deeply, Jeff and Shaleia helped us to see that America isn't free until everyone's free. So white people aren't free until Black people are free, and until everyone's free. So it helped me to see that that our God calling us to this matters, and showing up matters.
And so we want to apologize for not being here last week. We want to apologize for not showing up, not keeping our commitment, and breaking trust, because this does matter to us, and we're not going to do that again.
Exactly. Yeah, we really assessed that, wow, we've been showing up every week and building relationships around something that's really vulnerable, and that should be like deeply honored. Like for us, we realize what is trusted here is really sacred, that we're a part of this. So this took us deeper in it. And so, yeah,
and if anyone's watching who has maybe felt like they don't know how to help, they don't know how they can contribute, maybe you even feel like this doesn't affect you at all, that's because that's how I used to feel before Jeff and Shaleia's Sunday service on the topic. I felt very disconnected from the Black Lives Matter movement. I would see like posts and news articles, and I would just kind of like, I didn't feel the connection. But through Jeff and Shaleia bringing it up in church and through being present for these discussions, I realized that like everyone's oneness and how much this does matter, because it's literally affecting our lives as well.
Yeah, it affects our relationships. Like I really went deeper and like, y'all are real. Like you are a part of my church. These are like real relationships, like that are going to be part of my life for a very long time. And so I just really value what we're creating here. And so making this apology and this deeper commitment feels really good to do.
I wanted to share something as well. When this all kind of like came up and I was like really exploring like what is the deeper meaning of this in the collective of like the consciousness of like white people in general, as I'm white. And you know, I showed up last week, but there was something deeper for me as well, right? To like really look at. And I thought about like why do there's two ways typically with white people. Well, three ways really, right? One is they become an oppressor of the Black community. Two, they oppress themselves and their own voice because they don't think that they matter. And three, they join the fight, but they're not seeing any change and they almost feel powerless in it, right? And in all three cases, they're all power upsets. So I really looked within myself of like, where am I seeking my power from? Am I seeking it from my voice and standing up for what I believe in? Am I seeking it from another person? By oppressing them, I think I'm taking their power and getting more powerful. So that's essentially what an oppressor does. They believe that they're not powerful enough until they take power from others, but they can't take power from others because only God is powerful. That's where we receive our power from, right? And so I really made a deeper choice to really receive my power from God and see God as my source, and to really stand with my brothers and sisters in this place of power from God and stand up for God. By standing up for my brothers and sisters, my Black brothers and sisters, I'm standing up for God, right? And so it was this understanding of like standing up for truth, standing up for love, standing up for God, and claiming God as my source. And that was where it really took me into this like, wow, like that feels much more peaceful to be a part of this movement than in any other format I've tried to play out throughout, you know, my experience with the movement beforehand. So I just wanted to share that as well, because I think sometimes people think that, you know, well, I have no power here because I'm not Black, so I have no experience with this. But that's not the case, right? You're standing up for God. That's really what you're doing.
Yeah, amen. And as a unionist, that's what you have to live. That's what you have to embody. And yeah,
showing up where God wants you. God will always make a way. So we would love to hear, just kind of open the floor and hear everyone's thoughts and feelings about this subject, the experience last week.
I would like to share about what I experienced last week and throughout the week. Well, last week, I wasn't necessarily upset about anyone not showing up. I felt like the upsets came after, and that's when I realized that it was quite the collective feeling there. And I said that it was bigger than us and that it was really important. What I'm feeling now is that everyone was numbing their feelings to the importance of continuing to speak up and continuing to act towards the complete healing of this matter. And as a Black person, what I feel now is a deep hurt that I can't attach to anything, but feels like I don't know, it feels like abandonment, the abandonment of white people and abandonment of Black people as well. It feels like it's just two sides of the same coin, because actually we see a lot of Black people giving up on themselves as well. Well, why fight? Why speak up if it won't change? And so, what is important for me to note there, and I feel like this is something important to share, is that the powerlessness is not about the skin color. Sometimes we don't know what to do as well in the face of discrimination and racism. It is just that we ought to understand that we can't numb out to the deep hurt that is there. And also, maybe we think that we can escape the Black Lives Matter movement, but we can't. And it's not about skin color, because this hurt is in everyone. Yeah. That feels really relieving to say that. I think it was something important to share. I don't know what everyone thinks about it, but yeah, we are really realizing how one we are in all of this, and how deeply we can go together, and realizing that we are one race. Like, there's no different races at the end of the day.
Yeah, so I want to agree with you. Like I thought I had healed some. I thought I had healed it, but like, yeah, like, and I don't know. I think it's something that Daniel said just actually triggered teariness, and I was like, what the hell's going on now? But yeah, I'd say I think it is that sense of abandonment, and I think there's also it's attached to the wounding of Black fathers also not showing up. So there's also that masculine, there's wounding in the Black community about Black men not appearing, not being fathers, not being there, not supporting their families. So it just kind of feeds into the abandonment, but it also feeds into a negative example of what a strong Black man should be. Because there's either a hole there or there's the negative example. And so it kind of, all of that not showing up and abandonment all goes into one like really messy pot. And part of it is also, there's not always the sense that there are strong Black role models in the masculine form. So it kind of, I think it just kind of, all of that just in a wave hit me, and I was like, holy shit. I didn't think that it was kind of even to the collective example of what a Black man or a strong Black man is, and how they show up, and how they're not able to be there for their families. And so when Daniel was talking about that this is a family, it is like, well, there's family wounding in this space as well. And all of these layers and layers and layers of just sheer shit, to put it politely. It's just layers of sheer shit. And it really feels messy.
Yeah, and we'll definitely heal it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're yeah, we're committed to complete healing. That's what Yoreen was talking about. Like you can't spiritually bypass. And going deeper with what Yoreen brought up about how this is a shared hurt, like I feel that hurt, I feel the grief inside of me. And yeah, it's just very clear that like our like avoidance was like trying to avoid that feeling. And yeah, we're making a new choice there. And so together we're going to heal this one layer at a time.
I wanted, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just going to bring up a comment that was just said. So similar to like what everybody's talking about was off of Granville. Jenny said, I'd love to hear thoughts and feelings on how to recognize when numbing out. So a lot of spiritual practices and religions will use things as justification to turning away from that hurt rather than looking at it straight in the eye. So, you know, I think Dan, like we talked a little bit about this in I think a sermon, the last sermon. Maybe you guys can speak to this of like how the unionist perspective of looking at that upset and not numbing out.
You want to hold that really quick? Can you remember that? Because I don't want us to like jump back from whatever we're talking about, because that seems like it's gonna move us. Yeah, you can remember it? Okay, cool. And so just leaning into kind of our conversation and kind of going deeper into what I felt Dan and Deanna's absence last week was. I too was absent last week. And so I remember when they messaged that they weren't going to be there, I think my instant feeling was, oh, something else is important. And I think that it didn't really, like Irene said, it didn't bring up anything at that moment, but that's what I thought. I was like, oh, something else is important. Something else is more important than doing that. And as I leaned into that more, like, that's not cool. You know, that's not cool that this space that we're providing to bring healing to one another, as Yoreen was saying, like just as a unit, as a family, as you're saying, something else became more important. And it's not like it's all day, right? It's an hour, maybe a little bit more, right? And so as I leaned into that more, I was like, well, I was absent last week too. And so what does that mean for me? And I think I can honestly say like it was more important. It was something that I committed to before we even started this. And it was kind of that work, but I don't ever want to do anything like that going forward, right? And so as I'm building my schedule and building kind of what is on my calendar, being able to protect this as being important, not only for myself, but for the responsibility of being able to heal and bring healing ultimately to the world, right? And so really feeling like this is a level of responsibility and a level of importance that I want to steward really well, and want to keep others who are connected to steward it really well too. And so I'm thankful for you all just kind of recognizing that and bringing it up and being able to speak about that. And I thought what Deanna was going to say, if you're a person who doesn't know what to do and be a part of the movement, then, and I thought what you were going to say is like be consistent. And I think that's one of the things that I would say, like, if you don't know what to do or how to do it or whatever the situation is, whatever you do, just be consistent. Don't just be in this moment right now where we all kind of feel this need for change and a desire to do that, and just be kind of, as they would say, hop on the bandwagon or whatever and just ride it, but actually do whatever it is that God's calling you to do and be consistent at it. And don't let it drop again, essentially, because I think we're still here because we haven't been consistent as a people in doing whatever God is calling us to do. And so, thanks. So now the question, numbing out or.
Well,
I think we'll respond to that too. That was really profound. Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah,
Kalita. Like,
thank you.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I just really, I just felt, like you said, wow, something was more important. Yeah, it was like a, ooh, yeah, right? Like when you send that message to somebody, something's more important. Like, I appreciate that I'm not being given the pass to numb out on that feeling, right? Because that isn't my truth, that isn't our truth, but that's a pattern, right? That we make something more important than our community, than healing, than our commitments with God. Like, wow, like I really felt that. So, yeah, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I actually feel like I have some healing work to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Do you want me to facilitate it, or Ray, or like,
Or,
what do you?
or
Yeah.
anybody.
Okay, I'll step in. How are you feeling?
Well,
Oh yeah.
if someone, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whoever feels called.
How are you feeling?
Very sad.
Yeah. What do you feel sad about?
Yeah, just dropping the ball. Like, yeah, I feel guilt and sadness.
Hmm. Yeah. Does guilt serve you?
No, I can let guilt go.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling a lot of grief in my heart.
It's safe to feel that.
Yeah, because what happened last week, like, it did. Once Jeff and Shaleia pointed out what actually happened, like the truth of what happened, it's like my numbness broke. And yeah, it's hard to imagine that we live in a world where this isn't healed. Like,
yeah. How does it feel to have broken through that numbness and feel the truth here? Allow that sadness to be felt.
yeah, I choose to not numb out anymore.
Yeah, is it safe to feel the grief and the sadness?
Yeah, and I choose to stand up for what's right and be consistent, like Kalita said.
How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm still just moving through this deep sadness.
Yeah, allow yourself to feel it completely.
Yeah, I realize that in not being part of the solution, I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, do you want to make a new choice there? What's the new choice?
To be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Does that feel complete?
Yeah, I just want to go deeper in connection with everyone here.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's what's gonna be.
Yeah, you didn't hear my when you just said that. I choose to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not separate. I'm not separate.
For me, that was the healing here. Do I show up just because, oh, is it a thing on my calendar that I show up for? Like this made it so much more real for me. No, it's something like showing up for God and showing up for you all. That's something that is a living thing that I'm nurturing. That like it's not just I just show up to this discussion and check mark my list, right, for the day.
Well, that's something, and you brought this up. That's something that we're healing as far as churches in general. Like you show up on Sunday and then the rest of the week you're not living by what you talked about for that 1 hour, however long. Like, and that's what Jeff and Shaleia spoke about in their final sermon, is what it means to be unionist is you embody this 24/7. You don't stand for poverty, inequality, like anything. You don't stand for evil. You don't stand for separation. And it's a lifestyle. It's an embodiment. And I realized by the decision we made last week, we weren't being unionists in that moment. And new choice.
Yeah, new choice.
It's like so amazing what you're saying too, because like it feels like, you know, that's what perfect union is, to be a unionist 24/7, right? Like that, literally to go where God is guiding you every single second, to see God as your source in every single way. Like this is what is going to create perfect union and zero separation. And so through each and every one of us making this choice alone allows the entire consciousness, the entire world to experience perfect union. And so, yeah, like it's a beautiful thing that we're doing here in this church.
Yeah. I wanted to share about the week of healing with your absence last week. It was like similar to everyone else's. Like whenever you initially said you weren't going to be there, like it felt off, but I didn't like really, like I was just like, oh, and then I just went about my day. But then whenever it was brought up again, all these feelings of like feeling like I'm unimportant came up, and even though it looked different than like other people experience it was still the same upset. And I was kind of like, oh, like I didn't understand the importance of you being here at that moment. And like as I continued to heal it, I was like, no, like it is important for Daniel and Deanna to be here, because like as you know, white people, I have like this block with saying white and black, I don't know, but like
yeah, it's also because she's mixed, so it's like another weird thing, right?
Yeah. Because I technically, you know, do need white people to stand with me as a Black woman to actually heal this for good and consciousness.
Right.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Can you say you're upset though?
Yeah, that I felt unimportant.
Yeah, it was, and we talked about this. It was this feeling of like, the immediate gut reaction when we heard, you know, it's important that Daniel and Deanna are here. It was, why is it that we need a white person to be here? Why is it so important for them to be here when it's a Black movement, right? It was like this upset, right?
Yeah, and it was like continuing to heal, like we're one.
Right.
So like basically we're all white and we're all Black and Asian and all these things, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Because we're one.
Yeah, and like that's where the powerlessness came from. Like, so like when I saw this powerlessness that she was experiencing as well as Twin Flames, that's when I went into that for myself too. But yeah, it's essentially like there is something here to the effect that there's still this like belief that like you, like your source is the white person standing beside you, and like that they need to be there in order for the movement to be validated. But it's not because they're white. You don't have to put your source in the white person.
God.
You put your, you know, you say in God, and through God you collectively have everybody, right? Like it's that little white fine, it's like a fine line that you teeter on of like, well, of course I need them here because I need all of God's children here, versus, well, my white brothers and sisters weren't here, so I'm not validated in my movement. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, can we go like even deeper in that?
Yes.
I feel like what's coming up for me, and so like this is like my life purpose work, right? Of like talking about equity, bringing racial healing. I had these epiphanies this past week, y'all. And so this is like full, you know, I am on this planet to help bring racial healing. And that seems super amazing. And what God is leading me to is like being able to impart that into particularly white people, right? And so I get a little frustrated a little bit because I know that God, I know this is the end of the story because I know the God that I serve and who's in control. I know I can honor the life purpose work that God's put in me that's only unique to me. But I get a little frustrated of like, but like if they don't ever get it, like we still here though? Like, you know, if you know, I don't exponential my life purpose work to the 10th power, are we is this still our plight? And I don't think I've healed that, or like that's still a thing that resonates. And it's like the answer is like no, like God's able to do, but yeah, like
yeah.
you know,
So what is it that like you're feeling like in this place?
I can't think of the word right now, but am I spinning my wheels?
Spinning your wheels. And
am I just doing life purpose work to say I'm doing life purpose work, but is the ultimate goal?
So are you talking to these white people and Black people? Are you talking to them so that you can change their minds? Or are you doing it from a place of, I'm going to speak God's truth where God tells me to go?
I'm a unionist.
And, right? And like, and that consciousness will automatically hear it. And it doesn't matter like if the one person in front of you is conveying that they get it or they understand it. You don't have to control them. That like it's going to naturally happen through you just following God and where God's guiding you to convey your message, convey the message, God's message, right?
That's good. That's good. I have an issue of control.
Yeah. Okay. We can do that.
So yeah, releasing control of the results.
Yeah.
And releasing control of what I see is results. Is probably the choice I need to make. And so I make that choice, and because I walk in God's spirit of like, what do you have me to say, God? How do you have me to relay this? And that was part of the work that I did last week when I wasn't here, and I got a great response in terms of what was done, and I was just like, thank you, God, for what you were able to do. And so it's definitely that, but I am like, how many more of these I gotta do? How many more of these I gotta do?
But like, although it's part of your life purpose, right? It's not just you, right? Because it's God's purpose. You know, it's so amazing to me, like growing up, all these things, I'm sure everybody can relate, these things that I was doing to try and like convey the message of unionism or convey the message of one true love or convey the whatever, right? That everybody else was doing too. The fact is that the Church of Union has created a place where we can all come together to push forward God's message instead of just like having it in our own minds and trying to do it on our own. We get that opportunity to do it together, and it feels so much more easier because it's not up to us, it's up to God.
Yeah. I mean, the Holy Spirit got a lot of work to do. That's what I say.
Trust me, there's nothing he can't do.
Yeah. And so that feels good. Knowing that for sure.
Yeah. So
how does that feel?
There is something that I want to bring up that I think also at the time when Daniel and Anna said that there was something happening, it did bring up the feeling of unimportance or something being more important for me. But what was, I think the deeper hurt for me was because Daniel and Deanna are my coach. And we kind of started this Black Lives conversation movement together in the first tea time. So it kind of brought up the trust thing for me. Like, I felt a bit like my trust had been betrayed, because I did need them there. And I feel okay when they're around. And not because they're a source, just because that's the relationship. And I feel like the conversation just has richness to it when everybody that was part of that's part of the score team is there. I feel like there's a richer experience. So when Daniel and Deanna weren't there, and Kalida wasn't there, and Deji wasn't there, I was like, is this not important to you guys? Like, I know you gave us a warning in advance, but like, I almost had the sense like, well, for fuck's sake, if I can do it, so can you. To be perfectly honest, if I have to just kind of call those words, those were the words.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did break your trust, and we deeply apologize for that. Because, yeah, you're right. We have a deeper relationship even than just being involved in this just weekly discussion. You're our beloved client, and we love you very much. Yeah, we're committed to you, and we're committed to this healing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's the bigger upset for me. It was actually
Yeah.
that it's our coaching relationship that kind of felt wobbly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Look, a Deji made it.
Yeah, and in addition to that, what it really, I got to see those that did show up last week. I was like, wow. Like, showing up when everyone else is saying, hey, I can't make it, whatever. Like you said, it could have been like, well, this isn't important. But still, everyone that showed up last week made the choice, I'm showing up no matter what, and led the way there, right? And it was really humbling for us to be like, wow, we had said that we're going to lead the way, but then we dropped the ball. But you all didn't drop the ball. And I really, like, it humbled me a lot that you all are like showing up and help transform my heart, right? So that kind of goes back to Kalida's point too about like, we just choose to be the example. We can't control other people, right? But you all like deeply inspired me by making that choice last week.
Yeah, and I just want to check in with Granville. Like, how are you feeling in the area of trust right now?
I think there's healing work to do there. I think it highlighted to me that there's another layer of healing to do, because also through our coaching sessions, we've worked on that quite a bit, but I think there's always room to go deeper in that space.
Yeah, perfect. So how are you feeling right now?
I'm angry.
Angry. Yeah. So anger is numbing. Are you willing to feel your feelings fully in this moment?
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, hurt.
Yeah. That. It's kind of this feeling that I put my trust in you and you broke it. And it's kind of, it's a pattern that I've been healing through for most of my life.
Yeah. Are you ready for complete healing in this space?
Please, God. Like, yes. I'm so tired of this shit.
Yeah. We're here for it. Yeah. So this part of you is feeling betrayed. Yeah. What does this part of you need to feel loved right now?
Part of me actually feels loved because you're listening to what I have to say. You're not making an excuse about something, you're actually just listening. So it's being heard.
Yeah.
It was about being heard.
Yeah. Yeah. How does it feel to know that God's always listening to you?
Yes, that feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. It was like I didn't have to fight for that space. Like, for a change, it was just available, and I could just step into it and not be afraid to voice it.
Yeah. Does your voice matter?
Yes.
Yeah, do your feelings matter? Your experience?
Yes.
And does love always show up for you?
For the first time, it feels like love properly showed up for me.
Do you claim that as your truth and your only reality?
Yes.
Yeah. Only love is real and love never fails.
Now, how does this part of you feel now?
Like peaceful and warm. Like core warmth. Like not that it was missing, just that I wasn't feeling it. Or I wasn't allowing myself to feel it, actually.
Yeah.
Is there anything else this part needs to feel fully loved in this space?
No, this feels complete, eh? Feels good. It feels good that I didn't it wasn't a struggle. There was no struggle. And like, I didn't need the validation, but I did need to heal in that space. And so that's the part that feels good. It's like, you didn't need the validation, but actually just the fact that nobody got defensive when I said what I said. And so they didn't invalidate my feelings.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Just keep expanding that feeling of peace and love. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels better. A lot better.
Yeah, we're here for you, and we're here for this movement. We're here for this church, and we're not going anywhere. We claim ourselves as unionists.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be standing by that. Remember, it's till every last son of God returns home.
That feels good. Yeah.
And I realized actually, like,
thank you.
Yeah, you being able to share that, like, that's love. Like, Jeff and Shaleia have taught us a lot about this too. For you to be able to say, I trusted you, and you broke that trust, and it hurt.
Thank you for saying that. That's
like honesty. That's courage, and that's where true healing happens, right? And and for me to be able to be like, wow, I feel, because we're feeling as one. I feel sad that I built a relationship and broke trust. That feels bad, right? It's actually being able to feel that feeling that actually helps me get closer to you and be like, this relationship is important to me in my life. I make a new choice here. Like, that's the beauty of being a unionist. You can always make a new choice, but you can't listen. The new choice comes from actually feeling, actually noticing what I did,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you that, like, the more I let it out, the less it actually had an emotional charge to it.
Right.
It was kind of like that was where I was constricting myself, not actually completely feeling and speaking to that feeling.
Right.
And so it just kind of feels like a whole new level of lightness to just go, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Like, deal, don't deal, but this is how I'm feeling.
I want to expand on that and share an understanding that is really vulnerable for me. Well, when we had that Thursday after church tea time on the BLM movement, one of my thoughts was that, well, why, at some point I wondered why there was so many people of color and why the discussion couldn't be balanced. And I felt angry, maybe a little hateful, thinking that is it something that only concerns us as Black people? And then God just said, like, wait up. And I quickly realized that we were called to this discussion, our core group, not because of our skin color, but because we all had these different experiences that brought so much richness to the discussion. And that it was important that everybody was there. And then after having that understanding, well, I kind of grounded it to it. And back to last week when there were so many like absentees, the thought that I had, I realized now, was that, well, is this not important anymore? Are we just gonna give up before completing the job that God has gave us? Because not showing up for our brothers and sisters is actually saying to God himself that maybe he's not that important and there's things much more important than him. Yeah, so that was big. Yeah, I wanted to say something else. Well, on numbing out to that, I think God will never let us numb out, because it is clear today that this discussion is our mission, each of us present right now. And the activeness of the chat after that happened was definitely God reminding us how important this was and how important each of our voices were. And so addressing the point of numbness, he will never let us forget. And also in a compassionate way, he will always give us the choice to show up every Tuesday, give us the choice to show up every second for ourselves and for the world as humanists, and for love. And yeah, I feel better sharing about that. I was scared actually that this would sound hateful in some way. But I feel like we have opened to deeper vulnerability, and I felt so much better having shared this.
Yeah, it didn't sound hateful at all.
Sound like a unionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, it didn't sound hateful at all. At all. sounded honest. And it just kind of reinforces what our consciousness needs to be of like everybody. And we are oneness. And we're all in this together. And we all need each other. So, thank you.
No, I want to say thank you that like it feels like complete acceptance, kind of almost like for the first time in my life. It just feels complete in that space. Like there's that level of acceptance here is, I can't even say that it's anything I've ever really experienced. So yeah, there's like that's a whole nother, like a new reality for me, just through this process today. Okay, so the $1 million question. How is everybody feeling right now?
Yeah.
Is there anything in the chat in particular that kind of came up that we can really just look at really quickly?
I see a lot of comments of people saying like, I choose to be a unionist 24/7. I choose to be part of the solution. It's really beautiful. A lot of this is deeply healing. Chrissy said to you, Kalita, the external manifestation is God's job, not yours. Our role in changing anything is choosing to heal and claiming peace within ourselves first and sharing from that place as guided. You are extremely important and your choice in your healing matters. Always choose to move through that frustration or anger you feel and heal. Your passion for your purpose will always drive you to go deeper. Follow your heart. You are beautiful, and I loved your contributions today. Thank you for sharing so authentically. It's from Christy. Just a lot of solidarity, though, in the comments in general. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, yes. Do you want to say anything? I know you came in, but is anything on your heart to say? You're muted. Yeah.
Coming in late, hearing now everyone's, different, perspectives, it makes more sense as to what happened, last week, because, and I can only speak from my perspective. I can only speak for me. It felt as if it was like an attack that was a little bit irrational. I didn't understand it at first, but then when I got to understand the atonement and what everyone was trying to express without actually speaking it out and not talking at each other, it made more sense. So now it feels a bit more complete in that space. Yeah. Because at first it was like, wait, like it was a bit thrown off, but it's more complete now. Yeah.
I think that kind of goes to a Granville. What I really felt and what you were saying too was these conversations often don't happen because we're trained to think that if I'm going to share vulnerably, someone's going to get defensive or attack, right? The healing comes from being able to say the real experience and feelings. And actually, as unionists, we learn how to hold space and to actually heal those really raw emotions and experiences.
Yeah, and actually, this is a comment Michaela left about how this is deeply healing. She said, it shows that anything can be healed and that trust can always be rebuilt. Bridges can always be mended. She was thanking everyone for their healing today.
Well, that feels complete, but that's just me.
I just wanted to read what Marley had to say.
Okay.
She says, this honesty is so relieving. No more pussyfooting around the problems. It feels so good to just say what's on our mind. That's how we can really heal this.
Yeah, that's good.
Amen. And I just want to read what Lizzie said. The question, how does this group feel to everyone now? And I just want to say that we went deeper than ever in our relationship. That's what open, honest communication does. I feel very happy and very honored to be part of this. So thank you.
Yeah, I feel very close to each and every one of you.
I think what I want to say, or what's coming up for me, is that I feel like this is in like direct alignment. I think I was thinking about it as like my life purpose and like the work that I want to do all the time, right? And so I think I was thinking about it as, I don't know, a thing, I guess, or just not, yeah. And so I think what's coming up for me is that it's very much in alignment with that, and so that feels good. And deepens the commitment to it, if you will.
No, and the thing that really stood out for me was just the safety in even just having this conversation, because I feel like sometimes there were things that I didn't feel safe to say, and today I just kind of said it, and I was safe, and there was no attack, and there was no animosity and defensiveness, as Daniel said. It was just like, yes, let's put that on the table, because actually once we've healed through that, there's the next layer to come, the next thing to come. And it kind of just feels like the greater purpose of this group has opened up even more. I just feel the expansion even more. It's quite epic. It really is quite epic.
Yeah, I just feel like it makes this movement so much more personal to me. Like, you are people I love. You are people that matter to me. And it makes it like, when you make the issue personal, your heart's all in it. Like, now I'm like, of course I would show up. I love you all. Like, I don't know how I was disconnected from that. Like, I love you all. And it's not just about talking about a movement. It's about people I love and their experience in life. And so it really brought me to my heart space. Like, I love you all. And showing up, it just feels good. I want to keep going.
Yeah. Amen.
Ryan and Anastasia, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Emotional. Because we just made this new found commitment to continue doing this together, and it feels really good because really we're just committing to God. Like we said, we are going to heal this in consciousness together, and we're like grounding that today, and yeah, it feels good.
Awesome. Okay, so we're all feeling good. Are we feeling that we've reached kind of completion in this space today? Is there anything else we want to add?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who joined and is watching, anyone who commented or was just holding space, because everyone matters here. And we couldn't have this platform to move forward on if there wasn't support for it. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.